Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the rest of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is March 19th, 2025. And not only will there be a massive alt season this year, but it is currently taking place. We are in the beginning stages of Altseason 2025. I'm going to show you why that is today. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about why there has to be an alt season and why the signs are clear that it is currently happening and we are actually reversing trend from accumulation or consolidation into full-on impulse trend up. Okay, so an impulse trend to the upside we should start seeing at least from here until the end of March, more likely than not, green candles into sustained gains in the altcoin space. Not for every single altcoin, but for most altcoins in cryptocurrency. I'm going to talk about why that is. Okay, I'm going to also talk about where Bitcoin's going, what we expect from it next, and what all this means. What all this means for you if you're an investor, if you're a speculator, if you're interested in cryptocurrency, what all this means. All right, big episode. I'm excited. Hope you are as well. Let's get into it. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's get started with Bitcoin as per usual. Bitcoin right now is doing exactly what we said it would. Okay, let's go on the 4-hourly time frame, intraday. We see here, we have our inverse head and shoulders. Okay, we talked about this last time. This is a quintessential bullish reversal pattern. We see this all the time. This is very typical. You know, this is pattern trading 101. You see this head and shoulders inversed, right? Which denotes a consolidation channel that now reverses trend from down back to up. Okay, this is your trend reversal right here, this inverse head and shoulders. That is its function, to take all of the buyers, turn them into, all of the sellers who sold supply, then turn them back into buyers over a period of time in a restricted range, and then change trend. Okay, trend doesn't change on a dime. It always changes on any time frame. You know, if you don't see it, that means the time frame is too small. If you go down a time frame, you should be able to see this exact pattern or something like it that reverses trend from down to up in a reversal, a bullish reversal. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Now, the pattern target, right, is the height of this inverse head and shoulders superimposed from the side of breakout. That gives the target we've been discussing, right? The target of 94K, 94.3, right? Thereabouts. That's exactly where we expect Bitcoin to go. We've been saying on this channel for months, Bitcoin is going to go up ever so slightly, but then is likely to go down precipitously and hit its downside target. Okay, so we're going to talk about that just to recap, because this is a big episode and there may be some new subscribers, and I'm not publishing every day because not every day, I don't think, in my opinion, not every day necessitates a proper update, right? The price action sometimes isn't doing anything but, you know, consolidating, chopping. So that's exactly why I'm going to be a little more, what's the word? Explicit in explaining certain concepts that I've been over in the past. So our target is around 94.3. Again, this target is confluent with our 100+ day parabolic resistance, as you can see here with this dotted line. We were in this channel, and this is what we call a Wyckoff distribution channel. It's basically when the price gets to a certain point and people decide that is the highest, market participants, not just any people, market participants decide that's the highest price, that's the highest value of the asset at this point in time, right, people start distributing the supply. That's this distribution channel. Basically, it takes a while, but all that buying over time, just like we saw here on the smaller time frame, this happens exactly the same in on the larger time frame, but reversed, right? So you can see a type of head and shoulders, right? Bearish reversal pattern. And every single time you see these reversal patterns, these consolidations of either accumulation or distribution, they make rounded ends. Okay, so here this parabolic resistance is a rounded top, and that's where we got the breakdown. What we're getting on the smaller time frames, this inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern, is going to give us our last ditch retest. Okay, it's a final retest, and we knew that because we saw this ABC zigzag playing out. Okay, and we're currently in the B wave of the ABC zigzag. This is the A wave, this is the B wave that I have circled, and this is the C wave. It's a 3-part corrective pattern, right, according to Elliott wave analysis. And just zooming in on the B wave here, this B wave also happens in a flavor of 3, right? So we counted A, B, C, right? All this is a B wave. It's a compounded B wave, right? As you can see right there, you got your A wave, your B wave, consolidation. Now this is the final wave. This is the end, or it should be the end of this B wave. If that's true, the final move is the C wave to the downside. Okay, that's why we're saying Bitcoin is likely to move up to its target, hitting its target around 93, 94, 94.3, somewhere thereabouts, right? Once it gets to this resistance, be very careful, because Bitcoin is more likely than not slated to come all the way back down here. Okay, and the charts have been showing us this for months. Actually, I don't want to say years, but let's just say months. And it's very likely to be this target between 65 and 70K. If you want, you can even measure the size of the A wave. So typically an ABC zigzag in Elliott wave analysis goes 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 of the A wave retracement of the B wave. Okay, so let's just say the B wave doesn't, break 94.7, then we would get exactly what we said. What did we say? And I just did this right now. I haven't done this before. All full disclosure, I don't edit these videos. I just write, whatever comes to me, whatever I feel like discussing, whatever I feel is relevant. So in an ABC zigzag, how do you measure the C wave? You take the A wave, right? Basically, I took my Fibonacci extension tool of the A wave, retracement of the B wave, right? The B wave retraces up to here, and we projected that the C wave shouldn't come to the height of this B wave, or this part of the B wave. So that should be the height, the highest point of the B wave. And the C wave should extend to between 1 and the 1, 2, 3, 6 Fibonacci extensions. What do we have here? Well, we have the 1 Fibonacci extension at 70K and the 1, 2, 3, 6 at 65. What have I been saying for months? I've been saying for months on this channel that we should expect Bitcoin to come down to between 65 and 70K. I've said that verbatim, 65 to 70K. And I say, why do I give a $5,000 cushion, $5,000 sort of error cushion, right? Why do I give a range? Well, because it should be a really strong move, and buyers should step in forcefully. So whatever happens, depending on the exchange that you're trading it on, it should be quick. So if it hits 65, so if it hits 66, it won't be there for long. It might be there for a few moments, minutes, maybe. I don't expect anything slow. It should be a capitulative move and then come back up and then do a bit of consolidation, and then the bull run for Bitcoin starts. Okay, so this is what I've been seeing for Bitcoin for some time. This is exactly playing out. Now, altcoins, because it's really the story here. For those of you who pay me for my personal opinion on how the cryptocurrency market, different altcoins look, where they're going, if they're worth investing in. For those of you who subscribe to this channel, for those of you who are not subscribed, who watch the channel, I've been telling you the same thing for a while. I don't know, maybe years, months at least. What have I been saying? I've been saying what I just said, that Bitcoin is likely to make a move to the downside. It's in the charts. It's very clear to me. I don't really care what's happening out in the world. This is, this is printed out. Ever since we left this left this region right here, we had to come back because this was a breakout. This is a retest. That's just how it happens. You always do it. It doesn't matter what the asset is. Once you break out high time frame resistance, you have to retest high time frame resistance as support. It's called an RS flip, resistance to support flip. You can see it everywhere throughout time. Okay, so that was clear to me in October of 24 that, okay, we're likely coming back down here. Now, I've been also saying that, and this is more recent, before Bitcoin does this, altcoins have to move out of the way. And I've been expecting altcoins to move in a major way for a while on this channel, okay? I just didn't know when. But as Bitcoin started matriculating in this distribution channel and then started showing weakness, and then it was increasingly clear that we were going to come down to between 65 and 70K, I knew that whatever happened in the cryptocurrency space, we would have to get a big move in altcoins to the upside before Bitcoin made its final move up and eventually came down. Why? Because altcoins are on support. That I've been telling you for a while. So for those of you, again, who pay me for my services, my opinions, who watch this channel, who subscribe, I've been saying that with a high degree of confidence, almost promising it. Yes, it's happening. I don't know exactly when, but I know that it's happening before Bitcoin moves to the downside. That time is now. I'm going to show you that using Ethereum, okay? That time is now, okay? So you can see it on Ethereum chart. And why am I using Ethereum? Well, because it's the king altcoin. It's the king of altcoins. It's the number 2 in market cap in the cryptocurrency space. And historically, right, we don't have that much history to go off of, maybe a decade or so in crypto. But when altcoins move, Ethereum leads. And there's no alt season with a dead Ethereum. We've never experienced an alt season with the king altcoin not also participating and showing us strength in an altcoin season. Now, this is actually on the thumbnail, and I don't know how many of you understand what this is, what I'm trying to, what I'm showing. I'm not trying to show, I'm showing you. This is the reversal of trend, right? Let's zoom out for a second. Okay, we talk about reversal of trends. And I talked in the beginning of the video about, you don't just change on a dime. V-shaped recovery, even if you don't know, the vertex of the V-shaped recovery has a consolidation, accumulation channel. The vertex of a swing failure pattern also has a distribution channel. No matter how small the time frame, you just may not be able to see it. So when we talk about changes in trend, you can look and see it in Ethereum, right? Ever since the top here, March of 2024, that was a year ago, almost exactly, we've been going sideways and down, okay? Ever since December of 24, that was 4 or 5 months ago, 4 months ago, we've been going down, pretty much down only, okay? This is the reversal of that trend. The herald of, or the the start of that reversal, the first move of that reversal was this February 2nd capitulative move. This is the conclusion of that reversal right here. Okay, let's now that we have the context, go back onto the 4-hourly time frame and talk about why that is the conclusion of the reversal. Okay, so again, February 24th, that's a while. That's 4 months straight down. Now you get here. What are we seeing there? Okay, what are we seeing there? Well, you can see you have a I think you call it a rising triangle. I'm not exactly sure what the term is in pattern trading. Ascending triangle. I'm pretty sure it's called an ascending triangle. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You get this ascending triangle and you get this consolidation. This is a mini accumulation. This is the breakout of that mini accumulation. This is the trend of 4 months now reaccumulating and changing. Now that it's changed, it will keep going up until such point that it reaches a major level of resistance. At that major level of resistance, it's going to repeat this process, but in the opposite way. It's going to distribute and then go down. But on the higher time frame, don't expect this uptrend to break until we reach major resistance, and that's why it's called an alt season. Okay, that's why it's called an alt season. Let's look at it in terms of Bitcoin dominance. Now, Bitcoin dominance is interesting, and we talked about Bitcoin dominance, and for those of you who don't know, Bitcoin dominance is a measure of Bitcoin strength against the rest of the cryptocurrency space. So if Bitcoin dominance is going up, Bitcoin's gaining against altcoins. Bitcoin dominance going down, altcoins finally gaining against Bitcoin. We've been looking at this for quite some time. One thing I want to draw your attention to is the following. Now, if I can get here we go. Again, we talked about rounded extremities on tops and bottoms. What do you see here? Ever since the beginning of March, what do you see on your chart? This is the hourly time frame, so it's relatively small. But I like the hourly time frame to show you this because you can really see, if you look, and you don't have to look that closely, a head and shoulders pattern, a bearish reversal pattern, a rounded top at a major resistance. For those of you who don't know this chart, that dashed line is a major resistance of at least a year, I believe. Let's measure it out really quickly. So you have this ascending or this ending diagonal where Bitcoin dominance was going up. And remember, when Bitcoin dominance goes up, that means Bitcoin's gaining against altcoins. That means you're not making money in altcoins. You may be making money in Bitcoin, or you're just breaking even in Bitcoin. So that's a 430-day trend. Okay, so back to the hourly time frame. You look and you see what? You see that Bitcoin dominance has broken down, right? Because we're beneath this dash line. It's broken down from this 434-day support, previous support. Now it's resistance, and you're forming a bearish reversal pattern at 434 days of resistance. Again, context is important when you're analyzing charts. The larger the time frame, typically it means that the move is more important, or whatever's happening is more important, right? If something's happening on the minute chart, the 5-minute chart, it's really not that significant for the larger trend in the asset or in the indicator. But here again, we're looking at 434 days of a move. Even though we're on the hourly time frame, this is high time frame analysis. So whatever happens, we're likely to get a large high time frame effect. Once again, I spy a head and shoulders bearish reversal pattern at 434 days broken down. Now, here's the other really interesting reason I wanted to go on the hourly time frame for this. If you look, you can see, okay, if you want to mark this up, this is going to be your left shoulder, this is going to be your head, this is going to be your right shoulder. Go on Investopedia. That's the anatomy of a head and shoulders pattern. Now, the right shoulder just broke down last night, and I showed this on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter if you like shit posting. I post about whatever, basketball. Sometimes I post about crypto, but it's my personal account, and I don't exclusively post about crypto. In any case, you can see here, this had a support, right? Ever since about the 13th of March, which is about a week. Yeah, about a week. Almost a week now. Swing failure on the small time frame. You broke down, break up, retest previous support as new resistance. That's it. This small move right here that I just marked up is the breakdown of this larger head and shoulders, this larger reversal pattern that you can see here on the chart for almost 3 weeks. Okay, that's why it's happening now. That's why alt season is happening now. It's showing us in the Bitcoin dominance chart. This essentially means that once this goes down and starts going down, and again, because it's a large trend, we can see it on the daily time frame. It's a large trend that's about to play out. A large trend meaning on the high time frame, all of this, right? This ascending wedge, ending diagonal, right? This rising wedge, you want to call it a rising wedge. It's breaking down. It's just going to break down. You're going to have intra-wave corrections, meaning you're not going to go down in a straight line. You're going to have some counter corrections. But by and large, the larger trend is going to be down, and that's going to continue for quite some time. Look at your chart on the weekly time frame. Look at all of this. Look at it. It's one massive rising wedge. Rising wedges in pattern analysis, right? Look it up on Investopedia. They break down and target the base of the wedge. So you can expect Bitcoin dominance in some way, shape, or form to just keep going down until it gets to major support. That's the strength of both high time frame and small time frame analysis. Both are necessary. You need the context of the high time frames, and then you need the timeliness and the accuracy and precision of the small time frames. This is happening now, according to this chart. Okay, so we saw Ethereum, we saw Bitcoin dominance. I'm not going to show you the total 3, or maybe I will. Look at the total 3, my friends. Look at it. It's here. And it's not about what people think. I'm going to make a quick segue and talk about this. A lot of people want to approach crypto with big-brained analysis, right? Oh, quantitative easing has yet to take place, or has taken place, or the Fed has done this and hasn't done that. And according to this speech given, we're going to pump, or we're not going to pump. We're not going to have an alt season. We are going to have an alt season. It's not that complicated. Look at these accounts, just for example, right? ETH is pumping, so the FOMC meeting today must be a disaster leading to a market crash, right? Okay, that's not how it works, right? Powell's speech won't matter. That's actually true. Trump's pro-energy agenda, that's not true. That has nothing to do with it. None of that stuff has anything to do with it. It's already in the charts. Let me explain something as easily as possible. Why am I so confident that we're having an alt season, that we would have an alt season? Well, because we had a bear market. If you have a bear market, that is the cause of the effect, and that effect is a bull market. Without a bear market, you don't have a bull market. Without a bull market, you don't have a bear market. We had a bear market, and it was very clear. It's very clean and clear to see in the charts, and we all felt it. Ergo, we have a bull market. That's it. It's that simple. You don't have to big brain it, right? Here, the guys will decide either we print millions in 2020. This guy will decide either we print millions in 2025 or we go back to job. No, that's not how it works, right? Again, a lot of these, and I talk about this a lot, these fundamental sort of happenings, they're more immediate precipitating events. You may see them as blips on the small time frames, moving markets a little here and a little there, but by and large, these large moves are printed years in advance, months in advance, just like we saw Bitcoin breaking that large resistance in October of 2024. Now it's coming back because of what happened in October of 2024. And what happened in October of 2024 was also preceded by an accumulation, and that accumulation created a breakout. These big moves don't happen on a dime because Michael Saylor bought, because somebody says something, a pronouncement by the Fed or by the President of the United States. It doesn't happen like that, right? People saying this is the first bull cycle where there is no alt season. Again, was there a bear market? If yes, then you're going to have an alt season more likely than not. And I can go in at some point in time, once we start really pumping, I can talk about how this is the first alt season, like pure alt season, that we've had since 2015. Okay? So yeah, I mean, I can go on, but basically, I want to tell you all, this is happening, and it's happening now. You should see a lot of green on your charts, and you should see it for a while. That's what I'm going to say. Okay? Alt season's happening now. Has nothing to do with the ideas you think alt season should happen for. Those are all baked in. That's why we do chart analysis, because every single last decision of anybody participating in this market, buying and selling, is included in these candles. It is a comprehensive analysis, or not analysis, it's a comprehensive expression of the market. That's why charts are so great. It's not a question of if that is. The question is, can you read it accurately? That's it. So, I mean, that's pretty much... No, there was one thing I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the total 3. Total 3 is breaking out. Get in, losers. The total 3 is breaking out. What's the total 3? For those of you who don't know, that is every single last... Well, not every single, but most assets in the cryptocurrency space, minus Bitcoin, minus Ethereum, so it's representative of the altcoin space at large. If we're breaking out from here, okay? And again, this right here, and this is the last thing I'll show before cutting the video. February 2nd, once again, was the beginning of this accumulation channel. This accumulation channel is finally breaking out, right? And this is, again, been here for more than a month. We were struggling at the midline, and remember, the midline of any channel is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it. We're below it, right? So that's why you got that resistance. You break out of it, you retest it in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you find resistance here, you retest it right there, and you keep going. Okay, you retest that midline. This is gonna keep happening. Basically, you can expect sustained gains. You can expect sustained uptrends in the altcoin space based off of this chart. And at certain times, yes, you will experience some retracements, but on the whole, your bags should grow from here on out. That's what this chart is showing us. The total 3 chart is showing us that. Guys, hope you're excited. Hope everybody's starting finally to make some money. If you're long, if you're spot long, if you just bought spot and you have a portfolio that's just been looking ugly and wretched and dying and losing day after day, this changes everything. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. If this was helpful or useful, like, share, and subscribe. Consider tipping me by Litecoin, Venmo, Cash App, all in the pinned comment below. Also consider joining my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, also at the pinned comment below. It's one-on-one for 1 to 2 hours every month with me. We talk about up to 5 different altcoins, entries and exits, strategies, balancing your portfolio, all that stuff. So guys, take care. And risk management. That's a huge thing. Risk management. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
But to remind myself, seems I wake in the days while the world spins without me. Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon His glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in His hands. Come on. Yeah.
And it looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, and like I didn't even know, y'all. I had Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit it better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all.